I will never forget that rainy night when I pushed open the front door, exhausted. The living room carried not the familiar murmur of the TV, but the sound of breathless, illicit hunger. On the couch, my husband Landon was on top of a woman. That woman's face I knew too well. Bella, the cousin I had cherished since childhood. The keys slipped from my hand and rang out against the marble. They jerked apart. Landon's face went paper white. Sophia, let me explain. Before we continue, please subscribe to this channel and tell us in the comments where you're listening from. I didn't scream, didn't rage. I only looked at them. My heart ash. Bella fumbled with her clothes, a flicker of triumph in her eyes before she cobbled up hurt. Sis, I'm sorry. We just lost control for a moment. I walked to the coffee table and lifted a card lying there. A hotel key card, dated 3 months ago. A moment that lasted 3 months? My voice was terrifyingly calm. Landon reached for my hand. I stepped back. Sophia, calm down. I can't explain. I gave a cold laugh. Explain what? Explain how you slept in my bed, or how you used my money to book that hotel room. The air solidified. I turned and went upstairs. Landon followed. Sophia, let's talk. Talk about what? I didn't look back. Your wedding date. The bedroom door slammed, cutting off his voice. I leaned against it, tears finally breaking free. 5 years of marriage, 3 years of love, ruined. The joke was, I'd stayed late tonight to finish wrapping his birthday surprise. I opened my phone and scrolled to Landon's WhatsApp thread. The last message, sent last night. Babe, I'm pulling an all-nighter at the office. Won't be home. Ha! Over time, I scrolled farther and caught more loose threads. All those late nights, client dinners, business trips, all lies. I opened the drawer and took out our marriage certificate. In the photo we glowed. Who could have pictured tonight? Downstairs the front door clicked. Bella leaving. Footsteps followed. Landon climbing. Sophia, open up. Let's talk like adults. I said nothing. I know you're furious, but this was an accident. Bella and I only. I cut him off. Don't disgust me. A pause. Then knocking again. Sophia, open the door. I have things to say. I sat on the bed, staring at the ceiling. I'd paid the down payment on this penthouse in Manhattan. I serviced the mortgage every month. The cruel punchline, he betrayed me inside it. Sophia. Landon's voice carried anger now. You can't ice me out. Whatever it is, we face it together. I finally answered. Face what? When your affair started, or when you two planned to walk down the aisle? Silence from the hallway. I went on. Landon, I'll give you one chance. Get out of my home tonight and we can end this cleanly. I'm not leaving. We can start over. Start over. I laughed. The prerequisite for starting over is that I still love you. I moved to the door. Right now I just want to throw up. His footsteps retreated. I picked up my phone and texted counsel. Need to discuss divorce tomorrow. The reply came quickly. Certainly. Sophia. My office. 3 p.m. I set the phone down and looked out the window. Rain still fell, washing New York City of its grime. Maybe it was time it washed away my 5-year mistake as well. When I woke the next morning, Landon had already left for the office. Or for Bella. I dressed simply and headed to counsel's office. I'd barely stepped outside when I ran into Lee from next door. Sophia, did you have company last night? I heard a girl's voice. I smiled. My cousin dropped by. Oh, that Bella. She's lovely. Just like you. Just like me. I gave a bitter smile. If we were so alike, why did Landon choose her? Inside the law firm, Zoe took down every detail of the marriage. Sophia, from what you've told me, you have solid proof of adultery. Your odds on property division are excellent. I nodded. The penthouse in Manhattan, the Tycoon, and my shares. I want them all. Certainly, but I advise gathering more evidence. It will only strengthen your hand. How long? If everything stacks up, we can wrap this in a month. 1 month. I could stomach 1 more month. Leaving the firm, I drove straight to Sterling Tower in Midtown Manhattan. Sterling Industries was founded by my father. I'm now president and Landon is COO. Dad had brought him aboard only because he was son-in-law. Looking back, we'd invited the wolf inside. Sophia, Landon is waiting in the conference room, Secretary Mia said. I smiled coldly. Tell him I'm busy. Mia blinked, but he said it's urgent. Is anything more urgent than my lunch at a Soho bistro? I stepped into the elevator, leaving a bewildered Mia behind. My phone rang as the doors closed. Landon. Sophia, are you in the building? Let's talk. Talk about your new fling or your old one. Don't be like that, Bella. I hung up. Bella. The pet name turned my stomach. The elevator opened on the top floor, and I strode toward my office. I stopped dead. Bella sat in my chair, flipping through my files. Sis, you're back, she cooed. I snatched the folder away. Who said you could touch anything? Don't be mad. I was curious. She rose. About last night. What about last night? I asked coldly. The part where you screwed my husband in my bed? Bella flushed. Sis, please let me explain. Save it. I sat and straightened the papers. When are you moving out? out. Moving out? She looked blank. Why? Because that penthouse is mine. But Landon said we'll be married soon. Married. I laughed. Congratulations. Before the ceremony. Get out of my Manhattan home. Bella's expression darkened. Sis, how can you speak to me like that? We grew up together. Exactly. Grew up together. So you repay me by stealing my husband? I stood, towering over her. Bella, drop the innocent act. You think I never noticed your little games? What games? I don't know what you mean. Allow me to refresh your memory. I moved closer. In high school you told the boy I liked that I already had a boyfriend. In college you hacked my resume and cost me my dream internship at Goldman Sachs. After graduation you befriended my friend and talked trash behind my back. Now you've set your sights on my husband. I leaned in, voice low. Did you really think I was that easy to bully? She took a step back. Sis, you're imagining things. Imagining? I gave a cold chuckle. Then I suppose I hallucinated last night? Just then the double doors opened and Landon walked in. Seeing us, his face hardened. Sophia, what do you think you're doing? I turned, taking out the trash. Who are you calling trash? His voice rose. I smiled. Whoever's feeling guilty. Bella darted to him, acting wronged. Landon, sis is misunderstanding everything. Landon wrapped an arm around her and demanded, apologize to Bella. Apologize. I stared at them, and the last ember of feeling inside me died. You want me to apologize to her? Bella's innocent. The fault is mine. Innocent. I burst into laughter. Coworkers had gathered in the doorway, drawn by the commotion. Fine. If she's so innocent, let's show everyone just how innocent she is. I unlocked my phone and tapped a video. Just then, Landon stepped out of Victor's office. He looked a wreck, his collar askew, hair uncombed. He stopped in front of me and said, Sophia, Dad told me to apologize to you. Apologize? I stared at him. You think that helps? I know I messed up, but we can start over. Start over. I looked at the man and suddenly felt I didn't know him at all. 5 years of marriage. What exactly had I loved? Landon, I'll give you one last chance. I pulled out my phone and tapped a recording. Tell me what you really think, your whole plan for the shares. Landon's face drained of color. He stared at the voice memo icon in my hand, sweat beading on his forehead. Sophia, what are you doing? I gave a thin smile. It's simple. Tell the truth. What truth? Like when you two started, and what you honestly think of my family's money. His gaze flicked sideways while he hunted for an angle. Beside him Bella gnawed a manicured nail. I waited, patient, enjoying the show. Sophia, none of that matters. What counts is us. Us? I cut in. You still dare say that word? I flicked to a chat thread on my screen. Let me remind you how deep our us runs. Last year on my birthday you said you were stuck at work. Yet my friend's Instagram feed showed you and Bella clinking shots at a Tribeca bar. The new year before that, you claimed you had to entertain a client. Mom saw you two picking out matching sweaters at a Fifth Avenue mall. And last month, 3-day business trip to Chicago. I found the hotel keycard in your Tycoon. Each sentence bleached his face another shade. Bella's complexion wasn't doing any better. Still want to call that love? I asked coldly. Landon stayed mute for a long moment, then finally spoke. Okay, Bella and I have been together a while. How long? 6 months. Bella gasped. Landon, you said 3. He shot her a murderous glare. I laughed. Seems even you two can't keep your stories straight. Now, the shares, I pressed. Never touched them, he muttered. Really? I tapped another file, and his own voice filled the corridor. Relax. Bella, once we're married, the sterling fortune is ours. That idiot Sophia hasn't got a head for business. The board will hand me the keys. We'll tunnel the stock out and set up shop on our own in Los Angeles. When the clip ended the hallway was stone silent. Landon looked like he might pass out. Bella slumped into a chair. Anything else? I asked. Voice ice. Landon opened his mouth, but no sound came. Just then Victor pushed through the double doors. He'd heard everything. His face was thunder. Well, Landon, he said quietly, too quietly. Dad, save it. Victor raised a hand. You're fired. Effective now. Legal will comb every ledger. If I smell fraud, we see each other in court. Landon blanched. Dad, you can't? Victor's laugh was bitter. You cheat my daughter, carve up my company, and tell me what I can't do. Security, he called. 2 guards appeared at once. Escort these 2 off the premises. They never set foot in Sterling Tower again. As security closed in, Landon twisted free. Dad, we can deal. Nothing to deal with. Victor turned away. Sophia, come. I followed Dad into his corner office. Behind us Landon shouted, Sophia, you'll regret this. Without looking back I answered, the only thing I regret is ever falling for you. you. Inside, Victor poured me tea. You've been through hell, kid. I shook my head. I'm okay, Dad. You handled it perfectly. When did you record them? Night before last. I played drunk and baited them. He nodded. Proud. Divorce papers? Zoe says a month. Maybe less. Good. He squeezed my shoulder. Focus on work. Love can wait. Yeah. I gazed out at the New York harbor, feelings tangled. 5 years of marriage, over. I should ache, but mostly I felt air rush into lungs I hadn't realized were sealed. My phone buzzed, unknown number. Hello, Sophia. Jack here, private PI. I've got what you asked for. We met at a quiet cafe in Soho. He was already nursing black coffee when I arrived, mid-40s. Shrewd eyes behind steel frames. Sophia, sit. I slid into the booth. You said results? He opened a leather folio. Landon and Bella. Definitely more than 6 months. Try a year. A year. I frowned. You're certain? Positive. He spread photos. March last year. Coffee house in Tribeca. Note the body language. Landon's arm draped along the back of her chair. Her hand on his knee. June. Hotel Bristol Valet Cam in Manhattan. My stomach twisted. They'd already been lovers while I planned anniversary surprises. Keep going, I said. Voice flat. Next. Asset stripping homework. He produced a legal memo. 6 months ago Landon retained attorney Miller to study marital property law. He also met sterling clients off-book, quiet dinners at the Yale Club. My fingers curled into fists. Worst is identity fraud. He slid a sealed envelope across. She isn't your cousin. I blinked. Impossible. We grew up together. DNA doesn't lie. He showed the lab report, comparing a strand of my hair with one snagged from Bella's brush. Zero match. My world tilted. Then who is she? Real name, Blair White. Kid sister of Landon's college classmate. 5 years ago she posed as your cousin to get close, on Landon's suggestion. Cold rushed through me. Landon put her up to it? Not at first. She'd been fixated on him since undergrad. When he chose you, she cooked up the con. Landon figured it out later and decided to use her. I stared at the photos, my life rewritten as pulp fiction. For 5 years she sabotaged you, spread rumors to your friends, copied confidential files, nudged Landon toward the cliff. A memory flood, missed birthdays, projects derailed, invitations that never arrived, her fingerprints everywhere. Jack offered a glass of water. I waved it off. What's the end game? He produced one last shot, yesterday. Cartier flagship on 5th Avenue. Landon slipping a solitaire on Bella's finger. Sales staff applauding. Engagement shopping, Jack said. No fear of getting caught. I laughed. Short, sharp, perfect. Your move, Sophia. I stood, already dialing Zoe. I'm going to give them exactly what they want, each other. In handcuffs? Jack guessed. I dropped a retainer check on the table. Find every crime, tax fraud, wire transfers, falsified reports, all of it. 1 week, he promised. Outside, couples strolled along springlit Soho streets. I once envied them. Now I pitted anyone who still believes in fairy tales. Game on. Back at the penthouse. Landon waited with 2 suitcases parked like loyal dogs. I kicked off my heels. Why are you still breathing my air? He rose. Palms up. Sophia, we need to talk. We can't end like this. You're right, I said, heading for the bar. We end with you in an orange jumpsuit. I'm not marrying Bella. No. I poured club soda. Then the diamond she tried on this afternoon was, what? Costume? Color drained from his cheeks. You had me followed? I don't need shadows. Landon. I have receipts. He stepped closer. I messed up, but we have history. Remember our first date, the Met rooftop? I remember, I said, meeting his eyes. I also remember you naked in our bed with her. Give me one chance. I'll change. Change? I laughed. You'd need a time machine. I ticked offenses off my fingers. You cheated in the house I paid for in Manhattan. You funneled bids to shell companies in Delaware. You lied to my face while screwing my so-called cousin. And now you want forgiveness. Your ego's a monument. His jaw flexed. Push me and I push back. With what? Your little USB of fairy tales? He produced the drive like a loaded gun. Tax evasion. 3 million. Your signature. Your voice on the calls. I slow clapped. Bravo. Confusion flickered. That's it? That's the best act yet, I said. You forged those docs. Faked my signature. Spliced my voice. Sloppy work. Meanwhile, I've already filed the clean records with the IRS. They open an audit tomorrow. On you. The bravado shriveled. The drive clattered to the marble. I stepped over it. Landon. Lesson 1. Never blackmail someone who signs your paychecks. He lunged. Thinking better at the last second. You'll pay for this. Send the invoice to prison, I said, opening the door. Mia. Have security escort the ex-husband out. Landon left under twin escorts. Still babbling threats. I shut the door. Silence sweeter than any love song. 5 years of garbage, bagged and curbed. Tomorrow, the real cleanup begins. Landon's hands started to shake. Oh, right, I almost forgot to mention, I said, smiling. He lunged, but it was too late. Yes, Landon Cross. All the evidence is ready. When the call ended, I looked down at him slumped on the sofa. Anything else you'd like to say? 10 minutes later the police arrived. Even as the cuffs clicked shut, Landon kept babbling explanations. Officer, I never touched the money. This is a misunderstanding. The lead officer skimmed the folder I'd handed over. Cross, our evidence shows you diverted $8 million. Please come with us. $8 million. Landon whipped his head toward me, pupils blown. I gave him a thin, frigid smile and stayed silent. Truth, 5 of those 8 million had been wired by me. I'd labeled it Project Atlas, had him countersign the wire receipt, but the project and the contract were smoke. Under the law, that still counts as embezzlement. Sophia, you set me up. He roared. Set you up. I laughed. The cash is in your account. The signature is yours. The officer glanced at me. Ms. Sterling, we'll need you at the station for a statement. Of course. He was still looking back at me as they marched him out. Rage. Despair. A final plea flickering in his eyes. My heart didn't even twitch. After my statement, Bella's call lit up my phone. Sis, how could you do this to Landon? She sobbed. Do what? I asked. Voice calm. Sitting in the back of the town car. You know he never embezzled anything. Why frame him? Frame him. The money's in his name. The contracts are signed. Call that a frame? But those projects were fake. Fake? I feigned shock. How would you know they're fake? Silence. I went on. Bella, no. Let's use your real name. Blair White. A sharp inhale hissed through the speaker. You know? I know the whole playbook. 5 years of pretending to be my cousin, driving wedges between me and every friend, siphoning company assets. Blair's voice cracked. Sis, let me explain. Explain why you impersonated my cousin, or why you slept with my husband. Game over. Blair White. What do you mean? Your free ride just ended. I turned the ignition. Find yourself a good attorney. You're looking at fraud charges, identity theft, obtaining money by deception. Ring any bells? I hung up, humming as I drove home. When I stepped inside, the lock was gouged and the penthouse trashed. Blair had paid a visit, hunting for something. I checked the safe, still locked. Drives untouched. The rest was replaceable clutter I'd already scheduled for the dump. I speed dialed the contractor. Hi, I need a full renovation. Gut it down to the studs. Morning found me back at Sterling Tower, untangling the mess Landon had left. He'd quietly courted half our top client list and funneled seed money into shell entities in Delaware. I ordered finance to audit every line item. The rot ran deeper than I'd feared. Ms. Sterling, here's every project cross-authorized, Mia said, setting down a thick folder. I flipped pages until one line froze me. Who's the partner on this one? She scanned the file. Blair White Enterprises. Blair, cute. Who's listed as legal counsel? Mia blinked. Blair White. Color me unsurprised. I rang Zoe. Add another charge. Conspiracy to defraud. Money laundering. The works. Within an hour Zoe had amended the complaint. Embezzlement. Commercial bribery. Insider trading. A cocktail worth 15 to 20 years. Blair's indictment followed. Fraud. Identity theft. Laundering through Blair White Enterprises. The rivers of cash all flowing back to her. That night the blogs went wild. Golden Boy COO Landon Cross arrested, millions missing, Sterling heiress spills tea, fake cousin next, Queen CEO serves revenge ice cold, hold the apologies. I scrolled through the comments, wine in hand, and smiled. Then came the witness list, all the secretaries, interns, and account girls Landon had mentored, each happy to trade WhatsApp screenshots for immunity. My phone buzzed. Landon's attorney. Attorney Miller. Ms. Sterling. This is Miller, Landon's attorney. I'm listening. My client is open to a settlement. Now he wants to talk? We're all civilized people. No need for a spectacle. Spectacle? My voice sharpened. He created the circus. If he repays the funds and issues a public apology, could you drop the heavier counts? I let him dangle. Fine. 4 conditions, full restitution plus 10% interest. A televised apology admitting every felony. He walks away naked, 0 claim on communal property. Lifetime ban from finance or any SEC-regulated activity. A long exhale. Those terms are severe. Leniency is off the table. Take it or rot in court. I ended the call, shoulders light for the first time in months. At dusk I headed to the garage. Blair waited by my Taikung, eyes hollow. She dropped to her knees the instant she saw me. Sis, please, have mercy on Landon. I stared stared down, unmoved. Mercy. Who showed me any? It's my fault, all of it. Hit me, scream at me, but let him go. Now you're sorry. Maybe think twice before betting someone's husband next time. I'll disappear, refund everything. Too late. I opened the door. Enjoy your last breaths of freedom. Blair White. You and Landon can catch up behind bars. I drove off. Her sobs echoing off concrete pillars. Back home I poured a Barolo, toasted the empty room. To new beginnings. The glass was empty before I set it down. 1 month later the trials opened. As victim I took the stand. Landon looked gaunt. Designer suit swapped for County Orange. Defendant. How do you plead? The judge asked. He met my gaze for a beat, then dropped his eyes. Guilty. Your Honor. Gasps rippled through the gallery. His own attorney gaped. Next came Blair's circus. 6 charges. Identity theft. Money laundering. Romance scam. She wept prettily, blaming undying love. The prosecutor shredded the act. She twisted toward me. Sis, say something. Please. I stood. I believe defendant was my cousin for 5 years. She harvested my trust, sabotaged my marriage, and looted my company. Sympathy is wasted on predators. Blair's tears turned real when the gavel fell. Verdicts. Landon, 8 years. Blair, 6. Cameras flashed as I exited. Questions flying. I paused on the courthouse steps. To every woman betrayed, don't swallow the pain, fight. Scumbags and homewreckers don't deserve your tears. Back at the tower, coworkers applauded. I waved them off, cheeks aching from smiling. Night in the redesigned penthouse. Candlelight dancing off fresh paint. I raised a glass to the Manhattan skyline. 6 months later Mia buzzed during a board meeting. Ms. Sterling, a visitor insists on seeing you. Who? She hesitated. Landon's mother, Eleanor Cross. Let her in. Moments later, Eleanor was escorted inside. She looked decades older. Her hair completely white. Sophia, please. Auntie is begging you. She dropped to her knees the instant she crossed the threshold. I didn't help her up. I stared down, voice glacial. Speak quickly. Please. Let Landon go. He's still young. He can't rot in prison for life. Let him go. A cold laugh tore from my throat. Who's going to let me go? Sophia, I know Landon wronged you, but he was still your husband. Ex-husband. I cut in. We're divorced. Eleanor gritted her teeth. Fine, ex-husband. But you once shared a life together. Shared a life. I laughed loud and harsh. When your son was in bed with another woman, where was that a shared life? Eleanor's face flushed scarlet. That homewrecker seduced him. Seduced? I rose to my feet. Your son has no brain. One flirtatious look and he forgets he has a wife? Sophia, don't talk like that. Like what? I stepped closer. Am I wrong? When your son embezzled company funds. Where were you? When your son schemed to steal my assets. Where were you? Now that the sky has fallen, you come begging me? Eleanor began to sob. Sophia, Auntie knows she was wrong. I failed to raise Landon properly. Too little. Too late. I returned to my chair. Ms. Cross, I'm no saint. Your son reaps what he sowed. But 8 years is so long. She choked. I'm afraid I won't live to see him free. That's your problem, I said flatly. Not mine. Eleanor looked at me in despair. Sophia, how did your heart turn to stone? Stone? I sneered. Your son forged it. If he hadn't betrayed me, I'd still be the soft-hearted Sophia. But now I believe only one truth, which is, good is rewarded, evil is punished. Eleanor's last hope died. She stood to leave. At the double doors she turned. Sophia, you'll regret this. Regret? I smiled thinly. My only regret is that I was ever blind enough to marry your son. After she left, irritation prickled under my skin. Not because of her words, because they dredged memories I'd buried. I pulled out my phone and scrolled to Landon's photo. Our wedding day. Both of us smiling like tomorrow was guaranteed. The girl in the picture felt like a stranger. That gentle, trusting version of me no longer existed. I had become cold, ruthless. So what? In this world, kindness invites bullying. Only power protects. I deleted every photo of Landon. The past could stay in the past. I was moving forward. That night, driving home, I passed Rikers Island. For no reason I could name, I stopped. Beyond the high walls, I imagined Landon's new routine. He must be full of regret. Regret for his choices, for losing me, but life doesn't hand out do-overs. Some mistakes demand payment. I started the Taikung and drove away. Back in the penthouse, I poured myself a glass of red. Standing at the glass wall, I gazed over New York City's neon arteries. A metropolis this vast must hold a slice of happiness for me. 1 year later my life was back on track. Under my leadership Sterling Industries had doubled its revenues, figures Landon never touched. I'd returned to the social circuit, met plenty of impressive friends. At a corporate cocktail party, I was deep in conversation with a client when someone tapped my shoulder. Ms. Sterling, long time no see. I turned and recognized him instantly. My college classmate, now COO of a boutique investment firm in Boston. Ryan, what brings you here? Business, he grinned. Heard you're divorced? I nodded. Finalized. Perfect. His eyes lit up. I've been waiting for this day. I lifted a brow. Meaning I can finally pursue you without guilt. I laughed uncertainly. You're joking. I'm dead serious. Ryan's tone softened. Sophia, I've loved you for years. Back in college I adored you, but you were taken. When you married, all I could do was wish you happiness. Now you're free. I won't miss this chance. My emotions tangled. Ryan had been good to me at university, but I'd never felt sparks. Ryan, thank you, but I'm not ready for romance. Why not? Because I no longer believe in love. I gave a bitter smile. Landon injured me too deeply. That wasn't love, he countered. That was deception and exploitation. Then what is real love? I challenged. Ryan thought for a moment. Real love is respect, understanding, presence. It's not possession, lies, or betrayal. He held my gaze. Sophia, give me one chance to prove sincerity still exists. I stayed silent a long while. Landon's treachery had left scars. Yet Ryan was a decent man. I'd always known that. I need time, I said at last. Take all you need. He smiled. I'll wait. On the drive home I replayed his words. Maybe I should risk opening a tiny window. Not every man is Landon. Good people still exist. When I reached the penthouse, a bouquet waited at the door. Fresh red roses. The card read, Sophia, may you learn to trust love again. Ryan, it was my first bouquet since the divorce. No fireworks in my chest, but warmth spread anyway. Perhaps this was a beginning. I arranged the roses in a vase and set them on the coffee table. Crimson petals glowed under the lamplight. My phone rang. Unknown number. Hello, Sophia. It's me. Landon's voice. I frowned. How do you have a phone? A favor smuggled in. His tone was hollow. Sophia, I need to see you. See me? I snorted. Why would I come? I know I wronged you, but I want to apologize face to face. Apologize? My voice sharpened. A little late for that. It's overdue, but I have to say it. Landon's voice cracked. Every single day I regret my choices. Regret hurting you. If I could rewind, I'd never hurt you. Life doesn't offer rewinds. I kept my voice ice cold. Landon, the past is buried. We can't start over. Don't contact me again. I moved to hang up. He rushed on. Sophia, I heard you're dating Ryan? I froze. That's none of your business. I know Ryan. He's not sincere. Stop slandering him. I'm not. Urgency pulsed in his words. He wants a sterling project in Boston. My heartbeat stuttered. Quit poisoning the well. I'm protecting you. Landon insisted. Be careful. I ended the call. Still, unease crawled under my skin. Was he telling the truth? Did Ryan have an ulterior motive? The roses on the table suddenly looked less vibrant. Next afternoon, I tested Ryan. I asked him to meet at a cafe in Greenwich Village. Sophia, have you decided? He asked cheerfully. Still thinking. I studied his face. Ryan, may I ask something? Of course. What projects are you chasing lately? His expression flickered, brief, but I caught it. Routine investments. Nothing special. Care to elaborate? I pressed. Well, he hesitated. Trade secrets. I can't really say. I nodded, saying nothing. Inside, I had my answer. A true friend wouldn't dodge so awkwardly, unless something was at stake. Let's drop work, he suggested. Tell me about us. Us? I gave a thin smile. What us? I meant our future, Ryan. I cut in. Answer one thing. Shoot. If I weren't Sterling's president, would you still chase me? Ryan froze. The question blindsided him. Sophia, why ask that? Answer. I locked eyes with him. If I were an ordinary office worker in Manhattan, would you court me? He stayed silent a beat too long. Finally he exhaled. Sophia, I won't lie. I do want a sterling partnership. That doesn't make my feelings fake, doesn't it? I stood. Then name the project you want. Color stained his cheeks. Sophia. Let me explain, save it. I slung my bag over my shoulder. Ryan, thanks for the reality check. Unconditional love doesn't exist. I walked out, leaving him flushed and wordless. Outside, emotions tossed like storm waves. Landon had spoken truth. Ryan wanted something. Still, the revelation only hardened my resolve. Trust no one. Rely on no one. Only I can protect myself. That night I tossed the rose bouquet into the trash, then poured a glass of Merlot. To my independent life. I toasted the empty room. My phone buzzed. Victor. Sophia, what are you up to? Unwinding at home. I heard Ryan was pursuing you. I gave a dry laugh. Your intel is lightning fast. Bad match? He had an agenda. I recapped the cafe interrogation. Victor went quiet. Sweetheart, Dad wants to share something. I'm listening. You've grown formidable. I'm proud. proud, but I worry you've barricaded your heart. I said nothing. He continued. Landon is trash. Yes, but decent men exist. Don't let one bastard lock every door. I'm fine as I am. Dad, are you? He challenged. Is living solo truly fulfilling? I had no reply. I possessed money, power, status. Yet something felt missing. Sophia, I'm not pushing you toward anyone, Victor said softly. Just learn to trust again, and to forgive. Not them. Yourself. Pardon your former innocence. Your misstep in choosing Landon. Only then will you find peace. Tears slipped free. I'd punished Landon, and caged myself. The fortress I'd built felt cold and lonely. Dad, I understand. I wiped my cheeks. I'll try. That's my girl. Remember, past pain mustn't block future joy. After we hung up, I stared at the star-scattered sky over Manhattan. Perhaps it was time to grant myself a second chance, not for any man, but for me. I opened my contacts and deleted Landon's number. From this moment, the past held no power over me. Thanks for watching today's story. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Feel free to share your opinions. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more amazing stories. See you next time.